I'm walking to an area this morning where just a few days ago a friend of mine sent me a bit of footage of what she thought was a UFO sighting over a canopy of trees which are behind me. I'm walking to the top of this area to see whether there's higher ground behind these trees, because I know the area myself and I've looked on the maps and anything behind this tree is flat ground. But what I want to do is go up there and make sure that this area hasn't got anything behind it that's risen up where somebody could walk along with a very high beam torch. Because whatever this was didn't look like a normal torch to me. It looked more like an helicopter light. Now I know there were no helicopters around that time when this footage was taken, because I got in touch with a few people, Main Team Rescue being one of them, to ask whether they were doing any exercises in this area, which I do know now they weren't. Where she was in the field, right down at the bottom of the road on the other side there, and she took it and it was over this canopy of trees. But I want to make sure that there is no place up there higher up than them trees, because if there is, then it could mean that there was somebody walking behind there on an hill. I'm confident that there's no such hill behind there, but a few comments that I have had have mentioned that it could be higher up at the back. I really don't think it is, but today I'm going checking it out. And in case it was anything unusual, I brought a Geiger counter with me in case there's any radiation around that area, because you never know what sort of readings you can pick up with a Geiger counter after somebody's seen something like this. Now I'm walking up to them woods, but I've got to go up here and around and up this hill behind me to get over to them woods. So I've chosen today because it's such a lovely morning. So the hill itself, where the woods are, it's quite a steep walk, but it's not at this point at the moment, probably when I get a bit closer, because it elevates. I can see the path going up and it quite elevates on a steep incline. While I was walking up here, I've just noticed this, which is pretty amazing, because so many times I travel on this road that's behind me, where you can see the traffic on. I think you can see the traffic, yeah. Well, so many times I go up and down that road and look over in this area, and I never see what I'm seeing here now, this close. I thought, well, it caught my eye, and I thought I'll come over and have a look and see what it is. And it looks as though it would have been an old farm at one time, with stables, and the outline of the house is pretty big. I'm going to have a look on the maps and see how big it were, and have a look on the old maps and see whether it had a name. But it's quite a lovely area to be living in, because behind it you've got all these hills. Then on the other side you have this to look at. You've got Winterhill over there, stretches over. You've got the road down at the bottom, which you can't really hear, and then that hill over there is Great Hill. So there's an house down there, or a farm down there, and they've got all this behind them. Wow, but this would have been a lovely place to live. The views they really are magnificent. You've got the rugged hills over there with all the valleys in between where streams have gone in and made rivers. Especially with all the rain we have up here. I'm quite lucky this morning to get a bit of sunshine because, yeah, we've had nothing but rain over Christmas. And hopefully this year, this being the beginning of it, we sort of get some nice weather. That way I can spend more time out here. The thing is, when I come out on these walks, I never know what to expect. And I just keep walking. And if something catches my eye like that, I'll go off what I'm doing and go over and have a look. And it's so many times I do that. And it always takes me longer to get to an area where I'm heading to because of this. I just can't help myself when I see something like that going over and having a look. And I can imagine quite a few of you out there watching this do the same when they're out walking. And if they're out walking places like this. So I've just got to climb over this gate now. Right, I'm over. Just got to watch where I'm walking now. So the area I'm in now, we've got behind me is Angleside Moor. Then in front of me we've got Tutton Moor and Darwin Moor. I'm not sure where the border is between Darwin and Tutton Moor, but probably around the area I'm on. You know, I always end up doing things like this, putting layers of clothes on and getting too hot, especially while I'm walking uphill. I don't think we can get any cars up here anymore. It's a little road. Maybe get a tractor up here. But it's falling to bits with all the water running down. So, I've got to a crossroads. This is where I've come up from. And that will take me up to Tutton Moor. But this is going to take me up to Darwin Moor and take me to the wooded area. So I can't really get to the other side over there. But that is the top. And at the back of the tree line is somewhere over there. So where you can see the darker trees in the distance, I've had to come all the way around, but I can't get to that area. But as you can see, the field behind it, or the moor behind them line of trees, the dark trees in the distance, which are just here where my finger is moving up and down now, that is where the lights on top of the canopy were. So as you can see, I don't think it's higher up on that side. It's quite flat. And the flatness of it stretches all the way over until you get here. So I think whatever that was over the canopy of the trees there. Oh, that's strange. I can't explain that. I thought there might have been an incline where somebody could have walked up and be above them line of trees, but there is no way, unless they were that far in the distance, and then whatever light it was It must have been a very, very big light for it to be up there above that tree line over there. I think the best way you can see this is going to the video I did before and seeing whereabouts it was, and I will go back down in a minute and record from the area where this witness recorded it from, and explain a few more things down there of what's been happening around this particular area I'm in. So I was just filming down there where there's a bit of a gap to show you the line of trees. Now, as you can see, I brought you a bit further up, but to actually get down to that line of trees I would have to go over this bit of a valley here with a river running, and then over there are no footpaths at all on that side. The footpath goes here, and as you can see, I don't think there'll be anyone walking up here in the fog and going over there to shine a light over them trees. Whatever it was, I think it was aerial. I don't think it was an helicopter, but I'll let you make your minds up to what you think it might have been. And like I said, there are no footpaths on that side. This footpath here goes round to that bit of an hill over there, and then it does actually stop. It doesn't go any further than that. It just takes you to this bit of moorland. I think it's probably got to a point where not many people walk on it because of where it is. So I'm unsure where it can go any further. On the maps itself, it actually shows the end of the footpath just above on that horizon there. So yeah, I don't know what this could have been, but I will walk back down now, and if I can get closer, which I don't think I can because the trees stop here on this side. And there's no way I can get past that, especially at this time of year. I'm not even going to risk walking across this. I know this is a path, but if you keep going, that path and all that wetness will go into this boggy area here, which then goes down to a little stream that runs along there. But there's a bit of a valley going in between. Lovely area, but a bit silly if you were going to do it in fog. So I'm quite satisfied that this was something unusual above that canopy the day she took that video. I wanted to get closer to the area so I can use the Geiger counter to see whether it would pick anything unusual readings up, but I'm not going to be able to get over on that side because where this stile is here and this path is, it's very treacherous and deep in places, especially if I'm going to go off there. To prove it a little, I will walk. But again, there's another little path here, but as you can see, it goes down. And it's all wet. It's very, very boggy. I could sink in that. And I don't want to risk this because I'm up here today on my own. There's no one else with me. And it'd be a bit silly of me just to walk along there and see whether I can get to the other side. If I'm not going to do it now while it's nice and sunny, I can't imagine anyone else doing it when it's very, very foggy. I don't mind coming up to the moors when it's dark. But when we do come up here, we're not silly enough to walk off the path in the dark, because it's very, very dangerous. We'll stick to paths at night, unless it's summer. You know, summer's different. You know, there are some places you still can't get to, but when it's a bit drier, it's easier to walk along and you're not going to get stuck in any mud. I've been in an area which is just down past all these trees, called Roddlesworth, in the Tockles area. And within the tree line, as you just come near the road, I've sunken down and nearly lost my Wellington boots, because not realise how boggy it is. And I've had to get a branch and pull myself up with a branch. So here you can see that tree line a little bit better. Or it will, you know, it would take a bit for me to get there. And yeah, again, I'll use my finger and I'll point to the area. It's this tree line, the darker tree line here. So just on the opposite side, further down near the road, is where she filmed it from, which I will head down to. And like I said, I'll tell you more about the area when I get there. But the hill in the distance, what you can see protruding there, is called Great Hill. And that's where one of the witnesses had an experience in 2012 with something stalking her down the hill from there, going on the opposite side of the hill towards a place called White Coppice, where she was walking the area, and she'd just been up there for the celebrations of the Queen's Jubilee in 2012. And from that area of that hill, you can actually see on the opposite side Rivington Pike, which they lit the beacon that night. And then on this side, which you can't really see at the moment because it's over that hill, you will see the Darwin Tower, which is another beacon that was lit that night. So they decided to go in the middle of these places and go to Great Hill. So when they got there, they stayed there for a bit. They watched the fireworks, they watched the beacons being lit, and it got to about half 11, 12 o'clock, and they decided to go down. Now, she didn't have anything decent on her feet. She had flip-flops, and they'd come up not thinking about it, and they'd not brought a torch. But luckily there was somebody there who'd had his camping gear on, because he were out here camping. So it was just an head torch which was lighting the place up. So as she's walking down with one of her friends, they both had dogs. They were her dog, a friend's dog, this fellow with the head torch, walking down. They were walking behind her, she was walking in front with the dogs, and then she heard a growl, and both of the dogs had stopped with the tails in between their legs, with their backs up. And at this point she saw movement, and her first thoughts were there was a carrot field, because that's how big this thing was, but it was dark, so they couldn't really see it. And I think she said it was as she stopped and she heard the growls, but the people behind didn't hear the growl. She shouted over to them, "Did you see that?" Or "Did you hear that, sorry?" And as the fella panned round with his head torch, he got a glimpse, or she got a glimpse, of what this was. She couldn't make it out. Like I said, she thought it was a big cow. Then she started thinking, well, there are no cows up there, because this is grazing land for sheep. And there are no sheep as big as a cow around this area, or most areas. So they were heading the way back down, and they got down to near the bottom where the cars were, and she stopped to put the dog back on the lead so she could walk to the car. And then she noticed along a wall, past these trees where there used to be a building, something running towards her, something charged bluffing her, and it came running up, and she quickly took the dog back off the lead and started running. And at this point, with her only having flip-flops on, she banged her toes, and you can imagine the state of her feet on a rugged path up in the middle of the moors. Anyway, they all ran down, and she said as it were running towards her, and she let the dog off the lead. As she was getting back up, sort of like leaning back up, it growled at her, and at that point they just all ran to the car, got in, and got out of there. But yeah, Great Hill is just where you saw then, where this account started, and working its way down onto the other side. Now, the other people who were with them, when they got to a place called, because there were quite a few of them, when she got up there, she noticed there were some people already up there waiting with, they brought like a little picnic with them and a few cans to drink. And she noticed one of them was a friend, a work colleague, and she said when she got back to work, you know, like it was nice being up there that night. Did you see anything up way back? And she said no, but one of the fellas who were with them said he thought he could hear something following them in the reeds. So there would have been like reeds like this, and a path similar to what I'm walking on, but a few more stones and bricks sticking up. And he said he thought there was something following them. So what made me think with this one was, well, could there have been two? One following them down their side, which was about half a mile to where our other witness experienced it. So it were either one that could move very, very fast from one set of people to the other, or there were two there. One was stalking them down the hill, while the other one was stalking the witness who saw this, what she thought was a cow in the field. But yeah, that's the Sat Hill in the distance there. And I can see now it's getting quite busy down there. The road's getting busy. Because like I said, I thought I'd come up here on the off chance that we wouldn't get rained on. So I've seen the sun coming up, which I weren't expecting. And these are all the woods. And the canopy of the trees, I think you can see from this side now, as I'm walking. I can't really see because of the sun in my eyes, but I think it's that canopy of tree. Yeah, it is. It's that canopy of trees over there where it was over in the distance. So that is what I could see from up there. So I suppose I could actually get there if I went the other way around. But as far as I know, there are no footpaths on that side. I've looked at the Ordnance Survey map, and the only one that I could think of using was this one I'm actually on now. So I believe where I am now, in this area, is an hotspot for unusual things happening. Because it's not only that has happened in this area. We've had other things happening, but I will tell you about that once I get down at the bottom. I'm now down at the bottom, and I just thought I'd turn this back on before I get right down at the bottom. But I'm down at the bottom of turning downwind moors now, and I thought I'd show you the lovely sunshine in the back there and how the weather changes compared to some places, you know, like it. 1 minute, you know, you might be here for about half an hour and it's like this, lovely and sunshiny. Then you turn around and you look at what's behind me on that way, and that is all grey cloud on its way over. So it looks as though this afternoon is going to be very wet. So I'm glad I've done like this morning. I've been able to get out and clear my head a bit. So in front of me now, you got the beginnings of Roddlesworth Woods, which is there with the road going up through it, or up towards it, should I say. Where we've just been are these woods here, or where we've been at the back of. As you can see, nothing elevated behind them. I'm not sure whether I'm going to have time enough to do what I want to do, but I'll try and get it in before heading off, because the weather does change pretty quick around here, very quick. It's unbelievable how quick it changes. I mean, I've just been talking to you now and you can see it clouding behind me already. It's not going to be long before the sun completely disappears, which ain't too bad because I'm not far from the car here, or from the car park, because this morning I've been dropped off while I'm doing this. So if it does start raining, I'm going to have to find some shelter, and then I don't get my equipment wet. So this is the area where the lights appeared over the top of the canopy behind there. We have that going on there. We've got Great Hill over there with the account of somebody being stalked down that path going back home. Further down we have a weird metallic thing coming out of the tree line, going across the road and disappearing up along this field towards Great Hill. Now that, he said, when he reported this to me, he said it came out, it was about the size of a whale. Imagine that whale without having a tail. And he said inside it was a like swirling metallic liquid, and he said it came in front of him and just disappeared up the hill. But it went along the road, and when it got to the fence it actually went up and over the fence and headed in that direction over there. They were coming back from Blackpool and they saw this along where there's a tree line just in the distance. At one time, people, when coming back from Blackpool, they used to use this road a lot. They'd use the M65, come off here, especially going towards Bolton, because it was quicker to come this way than it was to use the motorway, the M61. So that happens to them on the way past. Again, more people coming past in a van at one time. They looked into the tree line of Tockles or Roddlesworth Woods, going past this area again, and they saw lights, and they saw what looked like a triangle craft with beings moving around, and the lights around the craft were casting shadows on these beings, making the shadows look longer, like you would do, you know, with the light effect, like the sun with the shadow. You know, the further down it is, the more length of the shadow you get. That's what they saw when they were coming past. What they actually thought it was at the time was a pub in the trees. Now there are no pubs around this area. The nearest one is about 3/4 of a mile in that direction, and again maybe half a mile to 3/4 of a mile that way in that direction. We have lights going over the canopy one evening by two wild campers who saw these heading over the canopy as they were in the woods. No sound at all. At first they were thinking helicopter, and then they thought no, there's no sound at all coming from this. There's lights going over the canopy and then slowly heading over again to Great Hill. Now there was another account of somebody coming along here in a car, and when they got to that area again where all this where the lights were over the canopy, where the thing came across the road, they came to a gate where there was they thought a great big, she explained it as being a great big massive dog that was at the side of the road, which she thought had come out, and they actually thought they'd hit. But I'll let her tell you in her own words what happened to her the day she were going past this.
About 3 or 4 years ago, coming along between Abbey Village and Belmont, and there's like a big lake at the side of it in a forest, and there's like a farm there, and we were driving down there, and it was just going dark, dark, and I saw this dog, and it was stood at gate. Literally, it was a big dog, a big black dog, and as we got near it, it kind of run in front, and it just disappeared. It didn't go into the woods at all. I know that for a fact, because we looked into the woods, I looked behind the car, I looked everywhere, it had completely gone. It's like the car just went straight through it, like it was there 1 minute and just completely disappeared the next. There was nothing. Nothing. You'd expect if you'd hit a dog, you'd know about it. So we definitely, I don't know what it were. I've never experienced anything like that in my life. It was horrible, because I actually thought we'd killed something. We both saw it. I couldn't tell you what breed it was. It did actually look like a Doberman. The size of a Doberman, it was big. It was big, but it were all black. With Dobermans, you used to have a bit of black and tan. It didn't look like a normal dog. You know what I mean? It didn't look right. And it did freak me out a bit, I must admit, but I'd like to look for it, you know. It didn't frighten me, because I absolutely love animals, and I've got 2 big dogs myself, so it didn't frighten me. It was just that it was there 1 minute, and then it had gone. And it was like, where the hell has it gone? It was the size of a Doberman, but it wasn't Doberman. I'm a bit bigger, and it weren't like a normal dog, if you know what I mean. It was like a bit like wolfhoundy kind of thing, but not a wolfhound. I mean, so I could say it. I actually saw it, stood there, and then it just ran right in front of us, like it wanted to.
We've got Hollinshead Hall, which is an old ruin over there with a well house. Around that area, there's been lots of people who said they've heard things, they've seen shadows, and there's one fella, again another wild camper, who got in touch with me, who said that while he was there one night, he took some photos with what looked like fog moving around these pictures. They're not very good because they've been taken on a phone, but it does look, you know, like a bit of fog in the distance. I know it was in the middle of summer, so we've not got, you know, like the fog from our breath, which have come in front of the photos. He said they went up the night after, and they heard what sounded like metallic gates banging shut. Now over there are no metallic gates, but there are bolts where metallic gates would have been at one time around this old hall. A little bit further down, there's a corner going down towards what is Belmont Village. And in that area, they said as they were driving past, they saw lights just above an area where earlier on when I was walking down, you saw, when I was walking up, you saw the farmstead where the ruins were, and I showed you the farmstead. It was around where that is. They saw metallic objects moving around in the sky as they were coming back on a very clear day. These were round. Whatever they were round, and the sun were reflecting on it and lighting it up that way. So yeah, definitely this place has got something going on. So this area is quite, it's an hot spot for strange phenomena happening just around here. Now, my understanding and what I believe it could be is over in the distance where Great Hill is, on as you keep going towards Winter Hill, there's a place in the middle of Angleside Moor called Roundloaf. And studying ley lines and seeing the places to go through. Now, this to me, I think, is a very important area because there are about 20 ley lines running from this. One goes over this area here, where I've just spoken about, and the other one goes in the area where I was just at, but a bit further over. So we've got one point here with two lines coming off, and it seems to be in the centre of this, where this is happening. Now these lines, this one here, which goes all the way over goes towards Darwin, across Darwin Moor that way. This one goes over Tutton Moor, going that way. Now we know there's a stone circle on the other side of that area, or on Tutton Moor itself. Cheetham Close Stone Circle it's called. Over here, where you can see that line of trees, not far from there is an area called Slipper Low. Now Low is another name for a burial mound, which we do have over on this area, another burial mound. So we've got lines going from one burial mound to another and going towards the stone circles that way, and one again from a burial mound going to burial mound, maybe burial mounds further on. There is an area of Blackburn where this line goes through, Darwin, Blackburn, all that area where we know there's stone circles and burial mounds within that area. So there's a connection there running along. It's causing some sort of phenomena here within the landscape, because I do know what we have underneath us is a lot of white quartz. So are we getting some sort of energy coming from this these two ley lines in the middle that is causing some sort of strange phenomena happening around this area? Who knows what it could be, but this is definitely an hotspot where I've had 6 or more people getting in touch and talking about their experiences within this area. Are these, whatever these things are, what keeps showing themselves to people, are they part of these lines that go across here? Who knows?